Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about how to manage your tasks. So we are going to basically show you the first steps of using the task feature inside Jestor. Jestor basically has more than one way to manage your tasks. However, our focus here today is to show you the tool that we have dedicated to tasks. You can use this tool. This tool will consolidate all your tasks across all the processes inside the company and will also give you the ability to create tasks that are just for you, just reminders and so on. It will enable you to add people that are responsible for getting that task done, and it will also give you the ability to see how many tasks you have per record. So each record can have as many tasks as you want, and each task can have to-dos. You can customize the steps that you need for a project or the tasks to close a client and so on. There's also another way to manage tasks on Jasper that we're not going to talk about today. The other way to do this is to basically create a customized table for tasks, subtasks, and so on. We can show you how to do this on another section. Today is about how to use the task dedicated feature inside Jestor. So it's a beginner's guide. So keeping in mind that we're just going to show you the really the basics about this feature, but the basic of tasks is already a lot, and it's also a really simple solution. So there's no need for advanced knowledge or code or anything like this. It's a basic system for adding tasks, managing tasks, and get things done. So, Cruz, show us around a little bit about the main task feature, and I don't know if you want to list the main features first, or if you want to just give an overview of the task feature, or give us some examples, or I don't know which way do you prefer to go this time for the task management system.
Yeah, I think that for starters, we can start talking about the feature itself. So, what does it contain? What it can do? How you activate it? What's this task list that I'm showing on my screen and all? But before I start with that, I want to just to touch upon something that you said before, which I think that elucidates a little bit about what is different about tasks in Jasper in general regarding other software, right? And one thing is that usually you have task dedicated software, right? You have software that are specifically dedicated to tasks. So it's all that there is in the software is task management. And then you have other customizable tools in which you don't have a task feature per se. What you have is you can, for example, create a Kanban board, you can create a table, and then you act as if that is the task. And the thing about Jasper is that we have both of these scenarios, right? Is that we have a dedicated task feature, and also, like Bruno said, you can create customized tables, you can create customized lists, customized Kanban boards to be kind of like main tasks or something of the sort. And this gives a lot of flexibility because sometimes you want tasks to be really customized, you want them to have a very specific structure, you want to see them on calendars, you want to see them on Gantt charts, you want to have this kind of like custom built, tailor-made structure for your tasks. But other times you want tasks to be very like easy to create things. They should just be one keyboard stroke away. You want all of them to have the same structure. You want to quickly assign them to other people. You want to see all of your tasks on the same screen. So in all this software, usually you have one or the other. So you have the pros of one and the cons of the other. So you don't mix them. And in Gesture, you can have the best of both worlds because you can create tasks in both manners. In this specific live stream, we're only going to talk about the dedicated task feature, which is used to create easy to manage, easy to create, easy to assign tasks to yourself, to other people. They can be assigned to processes, but they can also be created without processes attached to them. So they can just be like quick reminders to yourself. So you can kind of use Gesture like this dedicated task tool, but you can also create customized tables. We're not going to delve into that, but that's a lot of where the power of Gesture comes from. And you can actually mix the two together. So this brings a lot of flexibility. So, okay, what I'm going to do here now is just to show you guys basically the structure of a task, right? So I'm in the task list. If I go back to home, you can see that we have some main tools on the upper part of Jaster. We have tasks, we have chat. We've already talked about chat. We have docs, we have AI agents. But if I click on tasks, this is a task list that centralizes all of the tasks that are assigned to me or that I assign to others. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later. But first, let's talk about the task itself. What is a task inside Jestor? So you can see that I have a button here, new task. I can also activate this button through a shortcut. I can just press K, right? And this K shortcut works anywhere in the platform, so I don't have to be in the task part to activate it. As you can see, I can come here to the home page and I can press K and it's going to work, right? But if I come here and click on new task, you're going to see that this is the task structure. So a task in Gesture is something that has a title, a description. It has a status. We have some predefined status here of open, doing, suggestion, done, and ignored. The task can be prioritized. We have some predefined priorities to select. A task can be attached to a process, can be attached to a record. We're going to talk about this later, but it doesn't have to be. The task has owners. By default is the person creating the task, but it can have more than one owner, as you can see here. The task has a deadline. Not only does it have a deadline, but it has also a start date. So you can think about this deadline bar as a start and an end date. So if I click here on define a deadline, I can click here and let's say that I'm going to start this task on the 15th and on the 19th. So you can see that this is planned to start in the future. So you can see that this little icon, this little dot, blue dot here shows me that this is when this task is supposed to start. So I can see that I'm going to start here. If I hover, I can see I'm going to start on the 15th and it should end on the 19th. It's the deadline. But if I do on the pass, you're going to see that this becomes a progress bar. So if I'm already in the period in which I have to work on this task, I'm going to have this progress bar. And the task has a to-do list. So you can kind of think of this to-do list as subtasks of the task itself, right? So let's do a quick example, right? Just to contextualize this a little bit better. Let's go with, let's see. I'm going to create a task and this is going to be plan live stream. So let's say I was about to plan here the live stream that we're doing on a daily basis, right? So I can type a description and I can format things here as well. So for example, the live stream, we have to plan the live stream that we're going to do on the 19th, for example. So I can add a description. So I can also add bullet points. So this is, you can format things here, 3 and so on. So you can see here, when I select things, I can use this formatting bar here. So I can add a description. So you can see that the task has a title and a description to help you give more information, register more information about what you have to do here. So I'm going to leave it as open. I could leave this as a suggestion. We have this other status because sometimes you want to suggest a task to someone and they can do it or not. Maybe they say, oh, this is very important, and then they start doing, or maybe they leave it as suggestions because it could be a task that it would be cool if they did it, but it's not necessary on a daily basis that they have to do it. So can then leave it as suggestions so they know that they don't have to do it. It's not occupying the same space as the more important things, right? So I'm going to leave this as open. I'm going to prioritize. I'm going to give a low priorities for this one. And if I wanted to, I could attach this task to a specific record. I'm not going to do this now. I'm going to show this later on. But I'm also going to add to-dos here. The first to-do is write 3 ideas, and then draft script, and then revise script. There you go. So this is the task structure, right? So I'm going to create this, and you are going to see that I'm the owner, and also John here is the owner. I'm going to create this. So I've created the task, and it went here. You can see that it's already on my list. It's on the open section because that's the status that I used. I can collapse this and collapse this. I could create tasks directly to a specific part of the list, and there you go. And after that, I can just click on this and I could update things. So for example, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to plan the live stream. So I'm going to move this to doing. And also, I've already written
One
3 ideas.
just regarding the task description is the task description can be as long as you want. Like you can add uh, huge text if you want. Of course, it's not really maybe it's not that useful to have like a really long text, but it's possible to have like a really long text or comment or description and so on. It's the place where you can just discuss maybe an idea even.
Yeah, exactly. And this changes in real time, right? So I don't have to save the task. I can just add, for example, point 4, and this already changed the task, right? I don't have to save it every time I make a change. So cool. One thing that I did here is I've changed this to doing, and I've clicked here. I've checked the right 3 ideas on the to-do list. So you can see here that if I close this task, I can look at the structure and it moved to doing. And I'm going to talk about this part here. So at a glance, you can see that what kind of information I have when I look at the task. I have the title, I have the owners, so I can just hover the cursor here and I can see that it's myself and John, for example. If there was a process attached to this task, or rather, if this task was attached to a specific process, I would be able to see here. So I haven't attached to anything, so it kind of defaults to a personal task. I'm going to talk about this later, but you can see that in other ones, I have processes attached to them. So for example, in here, give Dave a call. If I hover here, I can see that this task was attached to an opportunity in the opportunity table, right? To the Dave opportunity. I'm going to talk more about processes attached in a second. So if we go one to the right here, you can see that I can see the deadline. And more importantly, if I hover my cursor here, I can see when the task started and when uh, it is supposed to end, when it's the deadline. And I can see this little circle as a progress bar here. So I'm kind of halfway done here. But if I change the deadline, you can see that this is the same progress, right? I'm going to change this so it's almost done. Here you go. This should end tomorrow. It started last week, Wednesday, and it should start. It should stop tomorrow. You can see that the progress bar, it's nearly done. It's nearly full circle. And if I change this, so it's already late, you're going to see that the progress bar, when I open the task here, it shows this excess bar here in red that shows that I missed the deadline and by how much I've missed the deadline. And also you can see here that this becomes a red circle with a red deadline here. So because this is a test account, you can see that I've basically missed all the deadlines. So everything here is already over schedule. But if I just change this, you guys will be able to see that this progress bar changes accordingly. One important thing is that when you close the task, either by going to done or by ignored, it's also going to register that date to show if you finish before schedule and so on, but we can get to that later. And if you're wondering what is this orange bar to the right here, this is the last part. You can see that if I hover the cursor here, this is my to-do list, right? So if I open this, I can see that I had 3 items here and 1 is done. So about 1/3 of the progress bar here is done. And if I hover, it's going to show me 1/3 done. So if I already drafted the script, I can check this. So you can see that this is updated. So I'm almost there. And if I finish all of them, then the progress bar is done. Okay, so this is the structure of the task. And you can see that this is a very simple structure because the idea here is for tasks that you don't need like a lot of information, you don't need a ton of customizability because most of the time, all you have to do is kind of like have a reminder that you have to do something, right? Usually, you're going to have the more important information, the more flexible information in the processes themselves, and then you attach those tasks to the specific cards, to the specific records. We're going to show how this works, but the idea here is that it's pretty quick to create a task, right? I can just click K and say send agreement, and this is something that John has to do. So I can just select John, and then I can create, and done. I've created a task, and I can see that I have to do this, and that John has to do this as well. Okay, so I've talked about the right part here. I forgot about the left part. You can see that on the left part of the task, I have the priority. So this square, this colored square here tells me of the priority. So if something is gray, there's no priority attached to it. But you can see that I have some that are light blue. This is low priority. I have some that are yellow. This is medium priority. And maybe I can come here to the plan live stream and say that this is a very high priority. This is a urgent priority. And you can see that it changes here on the left, right? So the rest of this is pretty intuitive, right? So these are lists of tasks, right? So I can just look at specific lists and see the tasks that I have pending to myself. And I can also filter by priority. Maybe I only want to see urgent tasks. I can click here, and this is going to filter all of my tasks. Maybe I only want to see medium priority. I can click here, and I can also have more than one filter active at the same time, right? So you can see here that I have urgent and medium active, so it shows me those tasks. Okay, so this is pretty standard, but one thing that I'd like to say here is that not only does this work for I think I've dropped for a second. Bruno, can you hear me?
Yeah, I thought it was me, so I was not sure because my internet wasn't working this time. Usually it's me, but I
Bruno,
think
can you hear
it's
me?
yeah.
Ah, cool. I think my internet dropped the connection for a second. But okay, so like I was saying, I can see all the tasks that I'm the owner, right? So when this is the standard view, my tasks. So basically, I'm the owner of those tasks. At least I'm one of the owners here. So I can just see all the tasks that I have to do that are attached to me. But one cool thing about the task part as well is that I can see tasks that I've assigned to other people, right? So for example, I'm going to create a task, And I'm going to say to John that they have to call boss. And I'm not the owner, but John is. So I'm going to select them. And I've created one task to John. So I'm not the owner here, it's just John. I don't have to do anything, but I've created a task to John, and I can here on assign see task that I've attached to them. And I can see that it's this person here, right? So this is pretty good because in this way I don't have to be one of the owners if I want to keep track of the task, right? I can just assign, create new tasks to other people. This is not going to pollute my view of my tasks. And if I want to see everything that I've created and assigned to other people, I can just click here on assign, and I know that John still hasn't called the boss because he hasn't closed this task. He hasn't done anything with this task as well. Okay, so you can also see here the personal tasks. And what are personal tasks in the context of Jestor? A personal task is a task that is not attached to any process. So you can see here that if I click on my tasks, basically almost all of the tasks here are attached to some process. For example, projects, it could be opportunities, it could be content database. So I can see that they are connected to some process. And here in personal, I can see just tasks that are basically just to myself. So a quick reminder, for example, oh, I have to pay the accountant, and I can just create this to myself. And because I haven't created this to any other person, and I haven't attached this to any process, uh, you can see here on this message here that I've created this as a personal task. So a personal task is basically a task that you've created to yourself and that isn't attached to any record, to any process, right? And then afterwards you have the a view for all the tasks. So this is going to combine them in some manner, right? One thing before I start talking about tasks attached to processes, one thing that I think it's pretty important to say is that, like everything in Gesture, this is all mobile friendly, right? So we have apps. You can use Gesture in Android and iOS smartphones. So iPhone, if you have any other device like that, and I can just simulate as seeing this through a cell phone. This is a simulation that wouldn't be this bar here, for example, but you can see that the interface rearranges and optimizes for mobile view. So I can just see all the tasks here. I have tasks as a shortcut here on the bottom menu, and I can just, for example, click here to see the plan live stream and see all the information from this task, right? So this is also pretty useful because if you have to remember something that you have to do, usually the smartphone, your device, is going to be the quickest way to do this. So you can just click on the task shortcut and see all the tasks that are pending, right? Cool. So let's talk about tasks attached to processes. And for that, I'm going to go to a CRM here. So I'm going to use this template that we're building in other live streams, right? So I have the CRM. I have here, there's a dashboard, there is a Kanban board, and so on. So if I click here on this card, these are the informations from, this is all the information from this opportunity, right? I have the chat, but also if I click here, I have access to tasks in this process. So if I click here, I can see all the tasks that are attached to this opportunity, to this card. I don't know if Bruno dropped or if I dropped. Oh,
Neither, I think.
oh, no problem. Okay, let's move on. So if I use this task panel, you can see here that I can create tasks attached to this specific record, right? So for example, let's close this send email, right? So this task is done, for example. So let's create a new task. So I have to draft a proposal for this client, right? So this is a high priority. And you can see that because I've created this task from within the card, it's already attached to it, right? You can see here, consulting services, it's this card here. I can assign a deadline, so I have to do this by Friday, no to do. So I'm going to create this. There you go. So I've created this task for this specific card, right? Um, so if I click on other cards, those tasks are not going to appear because they're attached to this specific opportunity, right? So I click on this card and I can see all the tasks created to it. But one cool thing is that if I go back to my task list, draft a proposal is already here. So the task list is pulling tasks from all of the processes, right? So if there's a task in a specific process, and it could be opportunities, it could be recruiting, it could be procurement, it could be any kind of process, this list is going to pull all of the tasks that are attached to me, right? And one cool thing is that if I open this task from this list, I can click here on the three dots and open the task record, and it's going to bring me the information from that opportunity, right? So from within the task, you can pull information from the record the task is attached to. So this is pretty useful, right? Because this means you don't have to go to the CRM and do stuff. You can just check all the tasks that you have pending and see the records, see the history, see everything that happened, and then work on that task without having to go to the CRM, go to the recruiting Kanban board, go to the payment approval process or anything like that, right? So I can just see the information from here, right? So this is what it means for a task to be attached to a specific record. And one thing that you can also do is that you don't have to go to the Kanban board, to the opportunities table, and create a task from within the record. When you create a task, you can select a table. For example, I want to create a task for a specific project, and I can select one of the records. So for example, I'm going to go with the redesign website record, right? And I have to create a task of review, let's see, design. And I can create this task, and this task is created to that specific record. In fact, if I go to the project Kanban board, here on design website, this is the task that I created from within the task list, right? So it's always bi-directional, right? I can create things from the process and see on my task list, and I can create things from the task list and go to the process itself, to the card itself, and see the task, right? So let's go back to the CRM. And one thing that you might have noticed is that here in this opportunity, I have two tasks in total, right? I have send email and I have draft a proposal. One of them is completed, right? And if I see the CRM and if I look at the card, the cover of the card, this front facing part of the card, I can see that I have this like little visual indicator of how many tasks I have in this specific opportunity and how many were completed. So you can see that I have completed 1 out of 2. So I still have 1 task pending here. And I can, for example, click here and finish this task. And in a while, it's going to reflect here. If I refresh my screen, it's going to reflect immediately. There you go. It already reflected. So all of the tasks are completed. I had 2 tasks. 2 of them are completed. And the way to do this is that if I look at the opportunities table from which the CRM is pulling all of the information, I have a task field, right? So this is just a common field that you can create in any table. And this field is going to mirror the information from within the open card. So you can see that I have 2 tasks here, and the 2 of them are finished. and I can see here in this field that 2 out of 2 tasks are finished. And then you can just pull this information to the Kanban board itself. If I added the Kanban board, you can see that I'm pulling that field here, and it's going to show me this little visual indicator, right? This is a brief overview of how tasks work, right? One other thing that I forgot to mention is that when tasks are assigned to you, you get notifications here on your inbox. If someone creates a task to you, you are going to receive a notification here, and this is especially useful if you have the app. So you get a pop-up notification, for example, and so on. But this is a general idea of how tasks work in Jestor. And this is really powerful because, like I said before, you can mix the fact that you have specific dedicated task feature with a flexible platform that allows you to create any sort of process, right? So in this case, I can have projects, and the projects can have custom information here. So it's very flexible, but sometimes all you want to do is like create a very quick task and attach assign to someone on your team. So you can just do that. You can just create a task here. So that's the general idea. And as I said before, all of your pending tasks, not just the pending ones, because you can check a history of tasks you have before, but all of your tasks are going to appear on this centralized section of the platform, right? You can just click here on the task feature, and you're going to see everything that you have to do, right? And this works especially well on your smartphone. So this is a perfect companion for you to look at in the daily operations and see what you have to do, what's important, what's not important, and from where the information comes from. Like I said before, you can open a task, and you can also see the record itself to get the information, right? So all in all, very flexible, very quick to use. The feature is already pre-built into the platform, and you can use however you want to, right? Bruno, I think that for a main overview, that's it. Do you have anything that you want to show everyone? Any other sort of comment that you'd like to touch upon?
No, that's all. And the best way to actually learn how it works, and if it will work for your case or for you, is to try it out. You can try it for free. If you have any questions, just let us know, leave us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll have another video tomorrow. Tomorrow, a little bit later, I think, 2 hours later. And if you have any other questions or requests, please leave in the comments and we'll help you. See you guys.
Bye.